What am I seeing here? There's a gallery view.
Well,
Oh, yeah,
hello.
here.
This is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you're on misplacedstraws.com, where music comes to life. And it's always fun when a guest makes a return trip to the site. And a little over a year ago, I talked with Mark Mangold as his band American Tears was about to release their record White Flags. Now he's back with a great new record called Free Angel Express, and he's here to talk about it. Welcome, Mark.
Welcome. Good to talk to you again.
Thanks. Now, Free Angel Express, it's the third record that American Tears put out since you resurrected the name a few years back.
Yeah.
Once you decide to go back to American Tears, what do you think has kind of led to this burst of creativity with these three records?
Well, it's really refreshing to get back to keyboards and revisit synth solos and organ solos and things like that I haven't done in a long time. And I'm not even sure really people have heard that much of. Get a lot of questions now, how do you get that sound with your guitar? And it's like, no. So we're using a lot of keyboards, organs, a bunch of synths, mellotron, clavinet, a lot of the vintage keyboards that were used back in that day, plus some more. There's a lot more things available to keyboard players now. Really it's a good time to be alive as a keyboard player. And I would say also the freedom that this band or whatever seems to allow, could be 5 or 10 minute song. I just had a cracker. That is not anything. Yeah, I mean, with this, the mentality is not even so much a formula normal song. It's about just going to where the music wants to take you and exploring a lot of these keyboard sounds. And as in the early 70s, which was, Vietnam and Nixon, there was kind of a mindset in those days that was a bit revolutionary and, a lot of people dealing with authority and crazy political shit going on. And kind of felt that way over the last couple of years as well. So it kind of put me both musically and just the whole vibe of that I was feeling when I was doing American Tears all those years ago. So.
And again, this is a predominantly keyboard-centric record, and you mentioned all the different sounds.
It's got drums and bass.
Yeah, yeah, and the new sounds and new technology available to you. At this point, is it sort of a badge of honor to do a rock record without a guitar, or do you not even think about adding guitars to it at all?
Oh no, I don't think about. Well, I don't play guitar.
Yeah.
I have other bands that I have access to guitar players, but the nature of American Tears has always been kind of keyboards, and it's just a different kind of tapestry. I am a little obsessed maybe with it. I have been, for a long time. American Tears then morphed into Touch, which was, thousands of vocals, thousands of guitars, and we actually have just finished another Touch record, which we're in the process of mixing.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's we actually posted a song about a week and a half ago as kind of a teaser, so that's up there if anybody wants to check out. It's called Tomorrow Never Comes. But so there's the ability to do that world, but American Tears is really just creating these lush tapestries with all these, people say keyboards, but in the keyboards means elephant sounds, keyboards means strings and choirs, and you trigger them maybe with a keyboard, but really it's 30 or 40 different instruments that they've actually just invented a new thing where a guitar player can now play MIDI like a keyboard player.
Yeah.
So they can hook right into the Mac or the synthesizer, and they can basically now play keyboard parts on the guitar. So it's starting to go both ways. They also have some amazing new plugins for keyboard players that sound exactly like guitars, which I'm I'm getting pretty deeply into now, and probably will be doing a lot of that over the next 6 months and some projects that I'm working on. So it's kind of anybody can play anything
Mhm.
at this point.
When we talked last year, you had mentioned that this record for Angel Express was almost done. You had been working on it, already. The
And
world changed.
the next one's done too.
Well, that
Pretty
takes
much.
care of one question.
Yeah.
Now, the world changed a lot since the last time you and I spoke. Did you go back and
Well,
tweak the record at all, or to reflect what's going on, or is it
tweak
how it
Free
was?
Angel Express.
Yeah.
No, not really.
Mhm.
It was, it takes time to mix it. And then you're waiting for the mastering guy for a month, 2 months.
Mhm.
And then somebody was helping me with it, got sick, and his kids got sick, and then his wife got sick. So, it was terrible.
Mhm.
They've come out of it and they're okay,
Good.
so
Mhm.
I know a couple of people who
Mhm.
didn't make it, which is terribly sad and terribly tragic. But yeah, it took time, and then of course took time to release. I mean, it was done. I guess it was done in May, maybe,
Mhm.
and then I played it for some people. And do you want to put this out? Do you want to put this out? Or maybe you want to put this out. So it takes a while to get that stuff together as well.
Mhm. And you mentioned bass and drums on the record. Who worked with you on the record?
I was fortunate to work with Alex Landenberg, who's just
Mhm.
the most amazing drummer. He's with Camelot and a band called
Mhm.
Syra and Stradivarius. I mean, a whole bunch of bands. And Barry Sparks from Ingve and
Yeah.
Dokken and
Yeah.
I mean, that was always the great thing about American Tears too. It was, in a way, a musician's record, a virtuoso record. So
Mhm.
the players were always very, very good. So it was great working with those guys. Alex came to New York, God, in March, and we finished up the drums.
Mhm.
Um, right before it hit, uh, he came and went. He's in Germany.
Mhm.
Um, and then, yeah, I worked on it there. And pretty soon after that, I came over to Sweden, and I've been kind of locked in Sweden
Mhm.
since April. So, yeah.
And with an artist like yourself, you mentioned the musicianship of the American Tears record, and sort of that's kind of what people expect. But I think sometimes the meaning and power of your lyrics get a little lost in the shuffle because everyone is concentrating on that musicianship. The last record you mentioned was a little of everything. There was, some anger, but then also kind of the peace and resolution of it all. The lyrics to this record seem very personal. I mean, a song like Set It on Fire or Glass, it definitely has that theme of redemption and promise. Talk a little bit about your lyrics on this one. What sorts of themes were you looking for?
That's such a well said question.
Hmm.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Uh, well, regarding volume of lyrics,
Hmm.
I usually have, I think you have to kind of read the lyrics on a CD.
Hmm.
Then you might not get some, and then what did they say there, and what did they say there? So you know, I uh, I kind of hear the lyrics,
Hmm.
because I do want people to hear the lyrics. Some of them are free associative. Some of them, like woke, "Are
Hmm.
you woke?" is pretty pretty straight ahead. Wake the fuck up. Uh, Sledgehammered. Um, yeah, some lyrics come in different ways. Some of them comes in dreams, and some of them just kind of like "Free Angel Express" was just a phrase I thought of. I didn't even know what it meant.
Hmm.
I like free angel. It just kind of paints a picture. And it took me about 3 months to realize it was a train express.
Hmm.
When I had to create the album cover, I was looking around the album and said, what can we, holy shit, it expresses a train. So dumb, and then boom.
Hmm.
So I sketched up this, 3-year-old drawing of this thing that
Hmm.
Stan Decker, the amazing artist, turned into this amazing album cover.
Hmm.
So sometimes you don't know what the lyrics necessarily mean. For instance, I just posted White Flags.
Hmm.
off the last record, which maybe was lyrically ahead of its time, but now after the election,
Hmm.
I think it's very, very relevant. Everybody's got to, I think there's a lyric, what is it? Taking off the armor, calling off the war
Hmm.
in White
Yeah.
Flags. So maybe it was, a year before, you don't know, there's no time line in other dimensions
Hmm.
or channeling. So sometimes stuff comes to you that might not be immediately relevant, or you might realize what it meant years later even.
Hmm.
So I don't think about it too much. I kind of like to paint pictures. I like ethereal, and I think certain things have various interpretations. I've heard a couple of interpretations of some of the songs that's like, really? Well, good. Fine. If that's what it means to you, fine. But yeah, it means different things to different people.
Yeah, and I think some of the sounds on this record have really evolved too. People hear keyboards and immediately you think, okay, it's a prog record. It's far from that. There
It
is
really
some
is. Yeah.
progressive stuff in there,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of rock. There's a lot of just kind of soulful, emotive music. Do
Yeah.
you ever write with genres in mind, or is it just kind of wherever that sound takes you?
Yeah. Wherever it goes. I mean, I hate genres.
Hmm.
I hate the word prog did not exist when this was happening, and then yes was pop,
Mhm.
and then yes became prog.
Mhm.
And Jethro Tull was, or any of these bands,
Mhm.
Zepp, um, very long songs. What is Kashmir?
Mhm.
Um, you just can't give names to this stuff. It's just music, and it is what it is. And it's kind of everything I've ever heard or felt that's filtered. I mean, to me, Not for Nothing is kind of almost a Led Zeppelin riff. If it was
Mhm.
done on a guitar, it's done on a grindy ass Hammond organ. So I love doing riffs with organ and or synth and doubling them up. So that's my instrument. So whatever it is, it comes out,
Mhm.
And if keyboards, all right, Mellotron, King Crimson, they made
Mhm.
it very popular, as did 10cc.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful string instrument, but you can apply it to many, many things. You can create these lush tapestries, and you add a couple analog synths to it, and maybe a horn over it, and it becomes this animal that is not a mellotron or not a synth or not an organ. It's
Mhm.
just this animal that kind of, hopefully, for me, I mean, I'm going to make the hairs on my arms raise up when I hear it, on these beautiful
Yeah.
speakers that have a nice bottom. So I'm just trying to get the adrenaline going.
Mhm.
And another example, if I Rise to the Light, beautiful organ. Everyone loves Procol Harum, so I spent the day listening to Procol Harum. In New York, I have my Hammond organ. I don't have it here in Sweden,
Mhm.
unfortunately. I miss it. But I spent half a day getting the organ sound on the Hammond and listening to Procol and getting it on the computer. So I really want to duplicate that Procol Harum sound, uh, which I think I got kind of close to on Rise to the Light.
Mhm.
So it's just little excursions into things that are created with keyboards.
Yeah. When we talked last time, the plan was hopefully hitting the road at some point in 2020 and
Yeah,
kind of getting out there, even doing some festivals, things like that. Now we're at the point where 2021 is in question when it comes to touring. How big of a setback is that for you, or do you explore other ways of getting your music out there?
it is a big setback because the way we used to get this kind of music out there was to go out and play
Mhm.
and build an audience. American Tears plays in the early days played some amazing tours.
Mhm.
Gentle Giant, Gary Wright, Peter Frampton, at arenas in front of 20,000 people. I mean, we played a lot. We got exposed to a lot of wonderful venues. But now with that's taken away for so many people, how do you get out to the people? And it's pretty much online.
Mhm.
Um, Maybe you do a video. We just did a video with the guys, and Alex is in Germany, and Uh, Barry's in Texas.
Yeah.
I'm in Sweden. So you have to do these things in your studio, and somebody edits them together, and you try to get some excitement, but it's not, doesn't feel or sound the same,
Not the same. Yeah.
or as much fun as being in the studio and doing it, because camaraderie is a big part, and half the fun of this whole thing. So yeah, it's a setback for a lot of people.
And kind of with that setback, I mean, you're not a huge social media guy. Have you kind of thought about expanding the presence of yourself in American Tears and kind of
We're
using
trying.
that a little more?
We are trying. No, we actually, Deco has actually hired somebody to do that, and they're working on it. I'm not sure what the secret is to that magic. I'm learning that it's evasive.
Yeah.
You don't quite know. But yeah, we're trying to work on that.
Mhm. And the response to the record so far, it's been really strong.
Yeah.
Have you kind of given any thought to next steps sort of in the world we're living in? You mentioned how the next record's almost done. Do you see yourself kind of putting out more music while all this is going on before you can
Oh
think
yeah.
of hitting the road again?
Yeah. Yeah, if we ever can hit the road. I mean, I would love to be on stage with those guys. I mean, Alex, if you see him in Camelot or Syra, and I've seen them a couple of times, huge drum kit. He's just such an amazing showman. And of course, Barry is the consummate bass player, showman, and plays not only bass, but, other instruments. So that would be just so much fun to be doing that. And for me to be surrounded with, 5 or 10 keyboards again and running around like a maniac would be a lot of fun. What was the question?
Basically, you answer. Do you see like the next record coming out and keep working and keep writing while all this is going on?
It's so doable now. You don't need to wait like in the old days for a budget to go into a major studio to get a drum sound or to get to record. You can go into your bathroom or living room, or right now in my little studio, which is, I can stretch my arms, it's not that big, and you can create a song that's pretty close to being releasable. So I always like to do real acoustic drums, but so many times now it's weird. They'll take acoustic drums and then they'll trigger samples with them. Most of the major records you're hearing from, Blink 182 and all, Chris Lord-Alge, Tom Lord-Alge, all these major guys, they have their snare sample, and they're putting that on fucking everything that they produce, So that's why they all sound so good, by the way. And there's a certain similarity to their productions, and it's very often the samples that they use. So the drummer will play, in addition to his live acoustic drum, you'll be hearing stuff that they add to it, to add whatever they want to it. So it is possible to do it really on a computer if you want.
Well, we've been spending some time here with Mark Mangold. His band American Tears just put out a great new record called Free Angel Express. It's available everywhere. It's on all streaming services. Definitely recommend it. It's a great record to listen to. Mark, it's been great catching up with you again. I am sure we'll talk again in the future.
I hope so.
Yeah, and best of luck with the new record.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. We'll see you later.
Thanks. Bye.